The Heart of a King. My name is T'Challa, son of T'Chaka, king of Wakanda. The Black Panther. These are my titles. They are hung around my neck like the teeth of a predator, a warning and a weight. You see the mask, the suit woven from vibranium, the claws that can tear through steel. You see the king on his throne. You do not see the man who is sometimes lost inside them. I am speaking to you now not as the myth, but as the man. I want you to understand. I need, perhaps, to understand it myself. To be a king is to be a ghost. You are haunted by every king who came before you. When I was a boy, my father seemed like a mountain, unmovable, eternal. He would place his hand on my shoulder, and I could feel the history of our people in his touch. The strength of Bashinga, the wisdom of Azuri. I thought a king was born with all the answers. I thought the blood in my veins would one day just know. He would tell me stories of the Panther god, Bast, and how the first king was guided to the heart-shaped herb. A gift, a power that connected the king to the land and to the spirits of all the kings who came before. The ancestral plane, he called it a place of peace, of wisdom. It sounded like a paradise. He did not tell me that it is also a place of judgment. The first time I drank the elixir, the first time I was buried in the red earth of my home, it was not peace I felt. It was terror. My senses exploded. I could hear the whispers of the wind in the plains, smell the rain 100 miles away, and then I saw them, my fathers, standing on the branches of a great tree, silent, watching me, and in their eyes, I did not see welcome. I saw expectation, 1,000 years of it, all focused on me. They do not speak with words. They speak with a feeling, a pressure. Do not fail us. Do not fail Wakanda. I woke up gasping, with the strength of a panther in my limbs, but with the fear of a boy in my heart. The power is a fire. It burns through you. It feels like you can do anything, but the expectation, that is a cage. For most of my life, that cage was comfortable. Wakanda was a paradise, but one we kept hidden. My father taught me that the world outside was chaotic, full of greed and violence. He believed that to protect Wakanda, we had to hide it. We had the cure for so many of their diseases, the answer to so many of their problems. But to share, it would be to invite their wars, their politics, their corruption. We would become just another resource for them to fight over, a mind to be emptied. So we hid. We built a shield of technology and secrecy around our home, and we watched the world burn, telling ourselves it was the only way to keep our own flame safe. I believed him. It was the only truth I knew. A father's duty is to protect his family. A king's duty is to protect his people. They were one and the same. And then I watched him die. In Vienna, in a flash of fire and smoke. One moment, he was there, a mountain, the next, dust. I was not a king in that moment. I was not the Black Panther. I was a son whose father had been stolen from him. There is nothing in the training, nothing in the stories of the ancestors that prepares you for that emptiness. A hole is torn in the world, and all you can feel is the wind blowing through it. And into that emptiness, a single thought rushed in to fill it: vengeance. They showed me a face on a screen, the Winter Soldier. They said he was the one, and I believed them. I did not ask questions. I did not seek proof. I saw a target. I saw an end to my pain. The anger was a fire, just like the power of the Panther. It felt clean, simple. The world was broken, and this was how I would fix it. I would find this man, and I would make him pay for the hole he had torn in my world. I hunted him. I put on the suit my sister made for me, a suit that could absorb and redirect any blow, and I became a weapon. I did not care about the man he was fighting. I did not care about their politics, their accords. All I cared about was the ghost in the machine, the man who took my father, and I almost had him. many times, but he was always just out of reach. It only made the fire burn hotter. I was a king, but I was behaving like a wild animal, blind, deaf to reason. My own gods, the Dora Milaje, the wisest and most loyal warriors I have ever known, they questioned me. Okoye, my general, my friend. She looked at me not with pride, but with concern. I did not listen. Grief is a loud, screaming thing. It drowns out all other voices. I finally cornered them, the soldier and his friend, in a cold, forgotten place. And with them was the man who had orchestrated everything. Zemo, a man with no army, no superpowers, just a broken heart. He showed me the truth. He showed me that the soldier, Bucky Barnes, he was just a tool, a puppet whose strings were pulled by others. The real killer was the anger in men's hearts. The real killer was vengeance. Zemo had lost his family, his wife, his father, his son, wiped away in a battle between gods and monsters that they had no part in. His pain. It was my pain. I saw my own face reflected in his. The same fire that was burning in me had already consumed him, leaving only ash. He wanted us to kill each other, to let our pain make us into monsters. And in that moment, standing over him, with my claws ready, I saw the path he wanted me to walk, the path I was already on. It did not end with justice. It ended with more dust, more emptiness. I stopped my father's killer from taking his own life. I chose justice over vengeance. It was the first decision I made as a true king. Not as a son. I thought that was my great test. I thought I had learned the lesson. I was wrong. That was only the beginning. I returned home to be crowned king. I drank the herb again. I saw my father in the ancestral plane. I ran to him like a boy. I told him I would be a good king. I told him I had found the man who killed him and I had spared him. I thought he would be proud. He only asked, "What have you done?" I did not understand. The truth is, we are all haunted, not just by our ancestors, but by our own choices, and the choices of our fathers. A man appeared in Wakanda, a ghost from a past I never knew. He wore a face I recognized, a face I saw in the mirror. He called himself Killmonger, but his name was Nejadaka, son of my uncle, Nojobu, my blood. He brought with him the body of an enemy, a man named Klawa who had stolen our vibranium and haunted my father's reign. He came with a story my father had never told me. A story of my uncle, who was sent to America and who saw the suffering of our people there. People who looked like us, but who did not have the power of Wakanda to protect them. My uncle wanted to share our technology, to arm them, to build an empire where the sun would never set on Wakanda. My father saw this as a betrayal. He confronted him, and in a moment of anger and fear, he killed his own brother, and he left his son, a boy, an orphan, alone in a world that would teach him only hate. My father, the mountain, the wise king, he had created a monster born of his own fear, and then he had hidden the truth from me, from all of us. The paradise I had been raised in was built on a lie, a beautiful, comfortable lie. Killmonger challenged me for the throne. It is his right by blood. We fought at the Warrior Falls, the sacred place. He had the training of a killer. I had the training of a king, but he had a rage that I had only tasted. His rage had been his only companion for his entire life. It made him strong, had defeated me. He threw me from the waterfall, and as I fell, the world went dark. I woke up in the snow, stripped of my power. My connection to the herb was broken. I was just a man, a failed king, a failed son, a failure as the Black Panther. I had let my family, my people, my ancestors, I had let them all down. The shame was a heavier weight than any crown. But in that cold, quiet place, I found something. Not the strength of the panther, but the strength of T'Challa. My mother was there, my sister, my love, Nakia. They had not given up on me. They reminded me who I was. Not the suit, not the title, the man. And I knew what I had to do. It was not about taking back the throne. It was about saving Wakanda from the very thing my father feared, my uncle and my cousin. They were not wrong to see the suffering in the world. They were not wrong to want to help. Their mistake was in choosing the spear instead of the open hand. They wanted to answer pain with more pain, to become the monster, to fight the monsters. My father's mistake was to turn his back, to choose fear and secrecy, to believe that we could be safe while the rest of the world suffered. Both paths led to ruin. I had to find a third way. I returned. I fought him, my own cousin, my blood. We fought in the heart of our home with weapons made from the metal that was supposed to be our gift, not our curse. I saw the pain in his eyes. The little boy who was left behind. He was not just a villain. He was a tragedy. He was the consequence of our fear. He was what Wakanda had created through its silence. I won, but it was not a victory. I took him to watch the sunset over Wakanda. The one his father had told him was the most beautiful in the world. He told me to bury him in the ocean with his ancestors who jumped from the ships because they knew death was better than bondage. In the end, he was just a man who wanted to go home. I could not save him, but I could learn from him. I could honor the part of him that was right. So I made a new choice, a choice my father and all the kings before him were too afraid to make. I went before the world, and I told them the truth. I opened the doors of Wakanda. I shared our knowledge, our technology. I knew the risk. I knew that by revealing ourselves, we were painting a target on our backs. We were inviting the chaos we had hidden from for so long. And it came. It came in a ship from the stars. It came with a mad god who wanted to wipe out half of all life. And we fought. We fought on the fields of Wakanda for the fate of the universe. Many were lost. For 5 years, I was one of them. I was dust, just like my father, an echo in the emptiness. To return, to find the world so broken. It would have been easy to close the doors again, to say, see, my father was right. The world is too dangerous. But I remember Killmonger's eyes as he watched the sunset. The look of a man who had fought his whole life for a home he could never truly have. We cannot hide. To be a king is to protect your people, but to be a good man is to protect all people. I cannot be one without being the other. They are not separate. The wise build bridges. The foolish build barriers. We are building bridges. It is not easy. I lie awake at night and I hear the voices of the ancestors. Some are proud. Some are angry. They question my choice. They warn me of the dangers. My father's ghost is there, too. Sometimes he looks at me with pride, sometimes with fear. I am still just a son, trying to make his father proud, even when I know I must walk a different path. And Killmonger, I see him too, not as an enemy, but as a reminder of the cost of fear, a reminder that we are all connected, that a wound in one part of the world is a wound in all of it. I do not have all the answers. I am not the mountain my father was. I am just a man who wears a mask and a crown. I carry the weight of a nation, the spirit of a panther, and the mistakes of my family. I do what I do not because I believe I am right, but because I believe it is the only way to be better, to be worthy of the power I have been given. My name is T'Challa, and I am still learning how to be a king. I am still learning how to be a good man. I hope I am succeeding.